Walkability in the United States is still a luxury. In most American cities, trying to live your daily life without a car isn't just inconvenient, it's nearly impossible. But there are a handful of places that break the mold. Cities where you can live, work, and shop and socialize without relying on a car every day. And here's the twist. These cities don't require Manhattan-level money to enjoy that lifestyle. Hey, I'm Mark, and in the past 12 years, I've guided over 500 families through big moves just like yours. And if you're exploring your next chapter, call the number below and I'll help you navigate it for free. Today, I'm counting down the 10 most walkable cities in America that are actually affordable. No hype, no unrealistic outliers, just real cities where walkability and reasonable cost of living overlap. So let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is one of the rare Rust Belt cities that has reinvented itself into a tech-forward, livable urban center. Neighborhoods like Shadyside, Lawrenceville, and the South Side offer dense housing, walkable streets, and solid transit. Why is Pittsburgh affordable? Well, the housing prices remain below the national average. Median rent for a one-bedroom is around the low 1200s. Plenty of older housing stock keeps prices stable, and good transit options reduce the need for car expenses. Coming in at number 9 is Buffalo, New York. Yes, Buffalo is cold, but underneath the snow is one of the most walkable and community-oriented cities in the country. Areas like Elmwood Village and Allentown feel like small urban villages. What makes Buffalo affordable? Well, the rents often land under $1,100 a month, and home prices still sit well below $250. We find slower gentrification compared to other New York metros and low cost of living despite a strong neighborhood culture. Number 8, we travel to Richmond, Virginia. Now, Richmond blends historic charm with increasingly modern infrastructure. Neighborhoods like The Fan, Carytown, and Churchill offer a classic grid, local shops, and a lot of character, all within walkable distances. And what makes Richmond affordable? Well, first is the one-bedroom rents average around $1,300 a month. Second, the housing inventory is still accessible to middle-income buyers. And third, the growth transit and bike infrastructure improves mobility. And lastly, the overall cost of living is less than the larger East Coast cities. Coming in at number 7, we find ourselves in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, Milwaukee is one of the Midwest's underrated walkable gems. Downtown, the Third Ward, and the East Side all score high for walkability, density, and daily convenience. And these are what makes Milwaukee affordable. To start with, the average rent is around $1,100. It's consistently low home prices relative to coastal cities, and the walkable neighborhoods reduce your commuting costs. There's also a major investment in bike lanes and transit, which in turn boosts the values. At number 6, we go to Providence, Rhode Island. Compact, dense, and full of character. Providence punches above its weight. Federal Hill and Fox Point feel like true urban neighborhoods with corner shops, restaurants, and parks. Why is Providence affordable? Well, rents generally stay under $1,500. Cost of living remains lower than in Boston and New York. Walkable density cuts down on your transportation expenses, and strong public transit options, including its commuter rail. Coming in at number 5 is Minneapolis, Minnesota. The snow doesn't stop Minneapolis from being one of the country's most multimodal cities. With walkable neighborhoods, skyways, and strong transit, it functions far better without a car than most people assume. So why is Minneapolis affordable? Well, the median rent is around $1,300 a month. A large supply of mid-range housing stabilizes the prices, and home prices remain accessible for young professionals. They have a good investment in the transit and bike infrastructure, which raise livability without raising the costs too quickly. Number 4, we find ourselves at St. Louis, Missouri. Now, St. Louis often gets overshadowed, but it has one of the most walkable historic cores in the country. Central West End, Soul Yard, and downtown offer walkable streets, transit, and mixed-use living. So why is St. Louis affordable? Well, one-bedroom rents are often under $1,000. Some of the lowest home prices of any walkable U.S. city, and lower demand keeps prices stable. Transit and walkability reduce the overall living expenses. So you can probably see a common thread among these cities. Coming in at number 3 is Portland, Portland, Oregon. Now, Portland isn't as cheap as it used to be, but compared to San Francisco or Seattle, it still remains a walkable bargain. The inner neighborhoods like Pearl District and Hawthorne are highly walkable with excellent transit. When we compare Portland to other West Coast cities, it's actually affordable. Rent around $1,800 is high, but still far below other West Coast tech hubs. Strong public transit can replace car ownership. Dense housing provides more choices, and Western cities' walkability and amenities reduce lifestyle costs. Number two, we go back to Pennsylvania, but now we're going to Philadelphia, one of America's most walkable cities at a reasonable price. Dense row homes, corner stores, and historic district, and a strong transit make Philly a top choice for urban living without the New York City prices. So why is Philadelphia affordable? Well, the median rent for a one-bedroom home is around $1,600, and home prices are far below New York, Boston, and D.C. Excellent transit reduces commuting costs. Plenty of neighborhoods with strong walkability at a lower price point. So now we go south to find our top spot. And coming in at number one is New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, New Orleans takes the top spot for being both walkable and genuinely affordable. The French Quarter, Bywater, and the Garden District offer the kind of walkability you'd expect from far more expensive cities. Why is New Orleans affordable? Well, one-bedroom rents hover around $1,300 a month. Lower home prices compared to most cultural and historic cities. Reliable streetcars and compact neighborhoods reduce car dependence, and the cost of living remains lower than other major cultural hubs. Walkability in the United States is still the exception, not the rule, but these cities prove you can live a walkable, car-optional lifestyle without paying Manhattan or San Francisco pricing. At the end of the day, it all comes down to smart density, reliable transit, solid infrastructure, and city policies that actually support people. Which of these cities could you see yourself living in? Drop your comments down in the thread below. I read every one of them. And if you're planning your next move and want real guidance, call the number below and I'll walk you through your options at no cost and help you make the right decision.